Have you ever felt like life is asking you to grow in a way that you're not ready for? Like God is pushing you into a new season of your life that you don't know how you're going to navigate it, or maybe you don't even want to go. In life, we go through transitions, time when the familiarity is stripped away from us, and we're left to face the unknown. And in my new book, In and Out of Season, it is a guide to navigate those times with faith, clarity, and purpose. I am Dr. Evelyn Johnson Taylor, and I have walked through my own seasons of change, where my faith was tested, my identity was challenged, and I had to learn to trust God that He had a bigger picture and a bigger plan for my life. In my book, In and Out of Season, I write about some of those transitional moments. And I do believe that transitional moments are sacred moments where our spiritual journey is deepened, our spiritual relationship with God is deepened, if we allow it to be. In and Out of Season is a reflection on the spiritual journey of life's transitions. And just as the earth goes through seasons of growth, seasons of winter, seasons of spring, so do our lives. And it's all about how we approach them, and we want to approach them with an open heart. And most of all, trusting that God knows the plan and the process that He has for us. Each chapter of the book is filled with stories of resilience and grace, not only just surviving, but about how to thrive in those seasons and to use those times of changes as a doorway to step into something greater and a deeper connection with God. I want to read for you a piece from chapter 3 of the book. And this title is chapter Thriving in Disappointment. And this is a part on expectations. Unmet expectations can lead to intense disappointment. Disappointment causes frustration. What happens when we pray and ask God for something? Believing that He is listening, we pray with confidence and assurance. But then sometimes we do not get the answer that we desire. It can be tempting to become disheartened and discouraged in our relationship with God. God's plan to encourage and restore hope rarely looks the way I think it should. Yet, even the most difficult experiences of life provide life-improving skills and lessons. The loss of a job may provide an opportunity to start a business. Financial struggle teaches us to budget wisely. Whether chosen or forced, what looks like a distress and failure can provide a pivotal point. These changes may cause us to stress, but pressure can strengthen and encourage creativity. We can develop better coping skills in times of heightened tension. Times of disappointment and failure can strengthen resolve. Many of the significant accomplishments that I have birthed were made after some mistakes. My most frustrating moments are where I have learned my most memorable and valuable lessons. And that's an excerpt from chapter 3. In times of stillness and struggle, we may feel disconnected from God. But it is in those quiet moments that God whispers the loudest, drawing us nearer and preparing us for what is ahead. The central theme of this book is to understand each season in that it has a divine purpose. The reason I wrote this book and the reason that this book matters is because life is filled with change. And we might question, why is this happening to me? Or sometimes we might question, where's God and what is it He's trying to teach me? But the book will help you reframe those questions and offer a lens of faith that sees transition as a part of God's divine plan. Whether you resist the change or be open to the change, be willing to learn from the change. There are lessons to be learned, and there are blessings to be learned. My intention for writing this book 7 years ago, when my husband went to heaven, I wasn't just facing an external change that people could see on the outside, but I was facing an internal transformation, one that required me to let go and to trust God and to surrender to the flow of life. In and Out of Season is a guide to doing just that, to trust in God's timing of each season, knowing that each one will bring us closer to God. This book offers tools like prayer practices and spiritual reflection to help you invite God into your transition. Whether you're facing grief, a career change, or a chronic illness, or a spiritual awakening, these tools will help you stay grounded in your faith, and you'll be able to find peace in the process. When I came home from the hospital, June 20th, 2018, without my husband, knowing that he would never return, I didn't know what the future held for me. But it was through prayer and reflection and through surrender to God that I began to see that God's purpose for me was still intact. And I had to come to the place where I understood that if I needed my husband to fulfill God's plan and purpose for my life, that he would still be here. But the fact that God took him told me that whatever it was that God had called me to do and was calling me to do, that I could do it without him. That my husband had fulfilled his assignment. He had poured into me, encouraged me throughout the course of our marriage. And it was now time for me to step into all that he had poured into me. And it was just me and God from that point to do and to make it happen. And that's what I had to come to understand. And I want to just say to you today that whatever season of life you might be in, I invite you to think about how God might be calling you to embrace that moment of your spiritual journey. I wrote this book as a guide to help you go through that process. And I want to encourage you that God has a plan for your life. And his plan has not changed, even though your season may have changed. His plan has not changed. He still has a plan for your life. In and Out of Season is available today. After the session this morning, I have some copies outside the door to the right. There's a table there. And I want to get this book in your hands. I'd love to join you and have you join me on this journey. I invite you to follow me on social media, on my website for updates and reflections. And I have that contact information for you as well. And I want to close by reading a review that was left by someone who read this book. I have just finished reading the book, and the revelation that I have received has been priceless. In and Out of Season, Thriving in Life's Transitions is more than about transition of the loss of a spouse for me. I am receiving healing and deliverance from my divorce, my relationships past and present, my finances, my health, and my mental and emotional state. And that is a review left by one of the readers. And as you move forward, audience, as you move forward through your own season, may you find peace in knowing that every transition is a part of a divine plan. God will never leave you alone in the process. Go forth with faith and trust, knowing that every season will bring you closer to the truth of who you are and the life you were meant to live. I hope In and Out of Season can help to guide you in this sacred journey. Don't be afraid to step into your next season of life, even if it feels uncertain. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be and exactly where God has you at the moment for what he wants to do with you in the future. So thank you again, Pastor Diane and Pastor Amy, for inviting me. And thank you all for listening. God bless you.